What's up, everybody? It's Erin.
And Nicole, this is Dude That's Fucked Up.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
I don't know. What song are you singing?
I don't know. Oh. Whatever you were. I just was yes anding.
You're riffing. You're riffing.
Yeah,
you're riffing.
No, what's a fun game me and Pete have been playing? And it scares him how good I am at this.
Ooh. What?
Just don't make me do it. I'll do it sometime in private, but
okay.
Well, okay.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm so excited.
Well, we just played it. I've been playing it mostly by myself with the car, but one time Pete was there and I told him that I'd play this game, and he's like, "Do it," and he gave me a song and I did it. Okay, so it's like you think of a pop song, but then I sing it like an old blues song.
Oh, it's like the Jimmy Fallon where
it's like the machine. Yeah. And you have to sing so like funny. In the tune of or whatever. And so he told me Smash Mouth All-Star, and then I did it and he was like, "Oh my God." I'm not even kidding you. Like, he was sincerely like, "That's scary." He was like, "That was really good." I was like, "Really?" That's what I do when I'm by myself.
Oh, my Lord. So funny.
Anyway.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. Well, you guys, oh, my Lord. This topic today is the best.
Too much.
It's / the worst.
I really knew nothing about it. I mean, I knew the big
yeah.
like swathing facts about it, but yeah. The broad strokes, but
yeah.
Ugh,
I know. Well, before we get to that, we have an ask for everybody listening.
Yes.
We always ask you to send us your stories, embarrassing moments, weird hookups, shit stories, whatever things that happen to a friend that you think are so funny. You don't have to it could be about anything really, but we want your funny stories because we're gonna play a little game with them.
Yes.
And this is so brilliant. Nicole, or you and Pete thought of this together. I feel like it was like a collaboration kind of.
Yeah, Pete and I were on a walk, and I feel like we were just talking about like Chat GPT and AI stuff, Ooh, look at that cocktail. Champagne cocktail. Oh my God. Is that a real Luxardo maraschino cherry in there?
No, it's a blackberry.
Oh, that's nice too.
Yeah. I do have Luxardo cherries, but I opted for it. Yeah.
They're good. Have them at the house. You just eat a couple every once in a while. They're very good. Yeah. It's like candy. Okay, yeah, Pete and I were talking about ChatGPT, and I don't even really know exactly how it came up, but I immediately sent you a voice memo of this like rant of me being like, okay, we need a listener story and then 3 ChatGPT quote unquote listener stories, and wouldn't it be fun if we like figured out which one was the fake one if we could, Yeah. And so we're gonna try it.
Yeah, we're gonna play a game. So like everybody send your stories in so that we can put them into the mix of a Chat GPT. Like we'll have a real story.
Yeah.
And so a lie or 2 real stories.
1 truth and 3 lies. Really, 3 lies and a truth.
3 lies and a truth.
It's like the opposite of 3 truths and a lie.
Okay. Or 2 truths and a lie, whatever.
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have 1 real story, and then we'll have the rest be Chat GPT stories. And it is up to you, dear listener, to let us know. So we're asking a lot of you right now.
But really not. Like,
no, it's a game.
Stories. It's a game.
It's a game. So you send us your stories. We'll mix it in with we'll pick 1 or 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
And then we'll mix it in with the Chat GPT.
Yeah.
The Chat GPT stories, and we will post the episode that we do it on, and then everybody has to let us know what the real story is. Everybody.
Yes.
Holler at us on all of our platforms at DTFU podcast. Everywhere.
Yep.
And let us know what the real story is.
It's basically like a mailbag episode with some assistance from AI to like round it out, and also a fun game. And yeah, I think it's going to be so fun. And I would say if you're writing us a story, make it real. Like don't use ChatGPT to make a fake one to send us, because that will be too weird, I think. But I mean, you know, do what you want. But it would be fun if it was real. And everybody who writes stories to us is always so funny, you know, and that's such a treat. And I feel like that's what's going to maybe, I don't know, but we could ask ChatGPT to tell a very detailed story. So
yeah, in the style of
yeah. I know. So it's going to be hard, but
it's going to be hard, but it'll be fun. Yeah. So we'll reveal the answer on the following episode. After we do the game. So that'll be all within the next few weeks here. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. So we're really pushing and asking for your stories. So send those. You could either go to our website, it's dtfupodcast.com, and you could you could write your story on our little like contact form that we have on there, or you can send us an email. Yeah. It's dtfupodcast@gmail.com. So just
a couple paragraphs.
Yeah. Try to keep it short and sweet. Yeah. You know, you don't need to go too ham on the story, but make sure it's funny. Yeah. Make sure it's, you know, semi fucked up. But above all funny.
Above all funny. Yeah.
And keep it to like 3 paragraphs. Beginning, middle, and end. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't wait for that.
It's going to be so fun. So shoot us those stories, y'all. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's get to the episode. I was sitting outside the other day. It's been really nice out, very springtime here in Long Beach. Mm-hmm. And of course, my thoughts drifted towards air disasters.
As they do.
Your
intrusive thoughts drifted towards air disasters.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And specifically, my mind settled on the Hindenburg disaster. And let me tell you something. Sitting in the beautiful sunshine, I went down a rabbit hole.
Oof. I don't know how we haven't talked about this yet.
I don't either. This is absolutely a fucking wild time in history that this was
wild.
So come enter this hole with me.
I wrote, I just watched the footage for the first time in my life. I think I'll stay on the outskirts of the hole. Thank you very much. I'll be hole adjacent. Yeah. But I do want to say before we get into this that I am feeling very #blessed to be living in this timeline. As always, I'm never not thankful because we are in the only acceptable timeline, and that's this current one. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like people today, it's just so funny, like watching something like this and remembering that like such fucked up shit was happening every day, all the time in front of people's faces. Like, this was on the brink of World War II. Like, it was like a precursor to World War II. And like that time period was brutal. It was... Children were like being killed in like factory accidents, and you know, obviously like slavery wasn't a thing anymore, but like the Jim Crow South was. Yeah, the Jim Crow South was. So it's like things were not good. Okay. Yep. And then you just see people complaining about like their fucking bunion or whatever, and you're just like, dude, it could be so much worse. And, you know, people complain about whatever they want to complain about. But this is a good reminder for me to be like, oh, yeah, I'm like so grateful to
fucked up shit is happening all the time, has always happened. And, this was a particularly fraught period of time that this happened. The Hindenburg disaster happened. It was... you know, a shit sandwich basically that this happened within. You had World War I
shit sandwich.
You had World War I on one end, and and don't forget about the Great Depression. Forgot about that. And then you had World War II on the other slice of bread there. So
my God,
what a time. Okay, so the Hindenburg disaster was an airship accident that occurred on May 6, 1937. And this happened in Manchester Township, New Jersey, in the good old US of A. Now, it's very interesting because the Hindenburg is very obviously, like, as the name indicates, a very German airship. It was the LZ 129 Hindenburg. It was a German commercial passenger carrying rigid airship, aka a dirigible. It was the lead ship of the Hindenburg class, and it was the longest class of flying machine and the largest airship by envelope volume. So like,
whoa,
like
the
entire
air
thing.
Volume.
Yeah.
Like all encompassing the volume of the whole thing.
Like if you stood it on end over end or end to end, it'd be as tall as like a skyscraper. It was massive.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, huge. The Hindenburg was built by the German aircraft manufacturing company Luftschiffbau Zeppelin. It was named after the Hindenburg was named after Field Marshal Paul von Hindenburg, who was the president of Germany from 1925 until his death in 1934. This man was responsible for making Hitler the Chancellor of Germany, so fuck this guy.
I was gonna say, I don't know anything about this man. I was like very curious, like, oh no, he died and then Hitler came into power. Like what happened there? But it sounds like he had a hand in it. So
well, he gave him his job. And then set him up for all the Nazis to just come right in.
Oh my god, which makes sense because the logo I feel like is very swastika-esque.
Yeah, this man was the president of the Nazis at the time.
Right,
they had set up a whole new
they
government.
already were a thing. Oh,
they
okay.
already were a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, fucking piece of shit.
Oh my god.
So, just like the Champagne, rigid or semi-rigid airships can only be called Zeppelins if they're made by the Zeppelin company. Otherwise, it's just a sparkling dirigible.
A sparkling white dirigible.
Yeah,
very white because it's
white.
Nazi.
Yeah. Yeah. The Hindenburg caught fire and was destroyed during its attempt to dock with its mooring mast at Naval Air Station Lakehurst. Oh. The accident caused 35 fatalities, 13 of the passengers and 22 crewmen, and that was of the 97 people on board.
Oh my god.
And there was an additional fatality on the ground. So
right, because there were grounds crew.
Yeah, there was grounds crew. Like they're the people that like grab the ropes and like moor it to the ground and stuff.
I'm shocked anyone survived this having watched footage of it. I know. It's unfathomable to me.
I know. I was just telling DJ and some friends who stopped by about it, and they were like, people survived that.
I know. I didn't know that.
I don't think I knew it either. I didn't realize it was like a passenger, like a commercial airliner, basically.
I did know that because I've seen like things about that. I feel like, but like, and that's why it was tragic because there was just like civilians on it essentially. You know, it's like it wasn't just the crew.
Yeah,
man,
which is sad anyway. You know,
it's sad anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like this is very much like I feel like everybody's at least seen an image of this because there was a lot of news coverage at the airfield itself because it was like a big deal. It was like the biggest Zeppelin in commercial use, basically. So it was the subject of newsreel coverage, photographs, and Herbert Morrison's recorded radio eyewitness report from the landing field, which were broadcast the next day. So the phrase, "Oh, the humanity," you've absolutely heard. It's a portion of his broadcast in which he's like describing what he's seeing, and he's so overcome with
he's like crying.
He's crying and through tears, and like he's choking on the like thick smoke and stuff. Yeah. He says, "Oh, the humanity." Yeah. And that's where that phrase comes from. So like if you watch the extended, you know, his broadcast, you don't watch it, you watch it.
Well, people have edited it so that his voice is with visual.
Is laid over the visual. Yeah. There was no he wasn't recording on camera. He was just recording for radio. Right. So, but his voice is overlaid on a lot of visual video. So to this day, like listening to his voice and him trying to describe what he's seeing is truly gut wrenching. Like it's fucked up.
It made me emotional. Like hearing how emotional he was, you know?
Yeah, it was super sad. Yeah. It makes it very real though, if you were to listen to this and not just like that little snippet, like the entire broadcast that he was able to get is intense. And I don't know that I'd ever listened to the full thing. I've like I heard like you know, like the shortened version of it.
This is fucked up though, because all this stuff like that we're talking about, like the Hindenburg in general, that clip of like the humanity, the footage of it, it's all kind of like so. It's just one of those things that's like so ingrained in our pop culture, like references and jokes and stuff are made about it.
It's like memed, yeah.
It's like memed, yeah. And it's like I didn't fully understand. Like I knew it was bad and stuff, but I never took the time to actually go watch it. And it doesn't take that long to watch it. It's a very quick thing.
Well,
but it's not something you seek out. I mean, it's uncomfortable. I was like, do I want to watch this? And I watched it and I was like, why? I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah, this is like how my brain works though, is like I get something in my head and I'm like, oh, I need to like watch all of the like and see all the pictures and stuff. It's like it's super fucked. So if you're so inclined to listen to that radio broadcast from Herbert Morrison and look at some of the images of it, please go ahead. So yeah, it's horrifying. Like it looks, the image of this massive thing just completely exploding and going up in flames is absolutely terrifying. Like I can't imagine being there and seeing something like this happen in front of my face.
And also it's extraordinary.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like it is that, okay, do you know those fireworks where it's like a snake or something and you like light it and it's like it like expands or something and then it's like very quickly burned? It's kind of like that. Like there's something really like, I don't want to say satisfying because it's upsetting, but like there is something that scratches like a part of your brain where it's like, what? Like what did I just watch? It's there and it's gone. Like, do you know what I mean? Like not in a positive way, but like that it could be gone so quickly. It's like there just aren't a lot of things we see day to day that happen in that small period of time.
Totally. Yeah. It's a intense thing.
Yeah.
To watch.
It's intense.
A variety of theories have been put forward about why it even ignited in the first place, because these things like were pretty like it's you know. But there's like, why would it have ignited and where did the initial fuel come for the fire? But like, there's
smoking room they had on board, maybe.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean, it's a fucking skyscraper-sized balloon filled with flammable gas. You don't even need a cigarette or a lighter near it for something bad to happen.
That's true.
You just need some fucking static electricity, babe. And
that's right.
We didn't have bounce sheets back then, so
not Hindenburg size. Oh,
I could never.
Yeah, so you couldn't pay me to get on one of these fucking things. I mean, I honestly, this is like, but this was like the way to travel until this happened.
It's so weird that like people went. Like from the Titanic to this, I'd rather go back on a boat.
Oh, 1,000%. Tried and true.
Like just bring a life vest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Watch. Don't go up in the fucking iceberg area. Like,
stay in the Bahamas.
Yeah, keep me in the warm water here.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then it's like, or do you want to go up in the air with this like?
First of all, I'm very high in the air. Second of all,
yeah.
Anyway, so the publicity surrounding the Hindenburg disaster obviously shattered public confidence in these huge fucking death traps.
Like, wait, those are flammable?
You're what?
Like, yeah. Oh, we didn't say. They're like, our airplanes? You're like, no. You're like, cool. I'll stick with those.
Yeah, it's but you know, like planes crash all the time too. I don't know. This is
not like that.
Not like this. So this happened, and it marked the abrupt end of the airship era for commercial travel, let's just say.
Yeah.
And before we dive into the events of the day of the disaster, I just need to paint a picture of how fucking insane the idea of an airship is for commercial transportation, just at least to our modern sensibilities.
Sure.
Let's just explain how they work real quick. So a rigid airship like the
like a blimp?
No, a blimp is not a rigid airship.
Because it's soft?
Yeah, because it's filled with
I see.
gas. It doesn't have any supporting structure inside.
Copy that.
Yeah, a rigid airship consists of a structural framework, and it's covered in doped. Doped means plasticized lacquers coating the fabric that is over the frame, and it makes it's for like aircraft, and it makes it weatherproof and airtight. So it's covered in this doped fabric.
It's like polyester.
Yeah, but like with a shellac over it, kind of.
Yeah. It's like
a hard coating,
like a cheap flammable fabric.
Yeah. Painted with like nail polish.
Yeah. It's shellacked.
Yeah, shellac.
Yeah. I feel like,
it's like a gel nail. And so the fabric contains a number of gas bags or cells containing lifting gas. Lifting gas is a gas that is lighter than air.
Yeah, fizzy lifting drink.
Fizzy lifting drink. So helium is lighter than air.
Right.
And a lot of these airships before the Second World War were using hydrogen, though, because helium is actually it's not exactly a plentiful.
Right, it's a finite resource.
It's a finite resource.
Yeah.
So, and we had actually, before the Second World War, we had actually stockpiled a bunch of helium, knowing how, finite it is. So we like kind of hoarded that shit for good reason. But like I said, the majority
that people could have gender reveal parties.
No, so people can make their voices all high pitched. Duh.
Oh yeah, I've done that. It's really fun. Not as an adult, I would love to, but I won't because I think it gives me a headache.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that was like the first time I got high. I feel like.
Yeah. Helium. Yeah. So the majority of airships constructed before the Second World War used very flammable hydrogen. And hydrogen is a lifting gas. It's lighter than air. And because they use hydrogen, it made gave it a little extra danger.
Oh.
Just a lot of these airships in this time were lost in catastrophic fires, much like the Hindenburg. So,
that wasn't the first time one of these went up in flames, sadly.
Yeah. So like we saw like the hydrogen disasters happening, and like I said, we'd stockpiled all this helium. So America started making airships, and they're like, "Oh, we're not using hydrogen. Y'all are fucking insane to put that inside of your shit." So we took all the helium, and we wouldn't sell it to any other country, and we just kept it for ourselves and made our own fucking airships with it.
Oh no.
Yeah. And inert gas was used by American airships in the 1920s and 30s. And it's also still used today in modern airships. Airships are still around. We got the Goodyear blimp, for example. And fun fact, the Goodyear blimp is no longer a blimp. It is now a semi-rigid airship. Instead of relying on the pressure of the lifting gas inside the envelope and the strength of the envelope itself to maintain the shape. So,
they don't have to fill it with as much.
Yeah, and it's rigid now, and they have like the gas bags and stuff located around instead of just the whole thing.
Oh my God! Also, very fun to watch that land. They do the ropes thing. They like throw the ropes off, and there's like a ground crew, and they all like scramble to grab it. It's very cool.
We live right by the Goodyear blimp, or like the landing area where the Goodyear blimp lives. In LA. Another fun fact: the fleet of blimps, the Goodyear blimps, was replaced by the semi-rigid airships. Was built by none other than Luftschifffbau Zeppelin, the same company that made the Hindenburg.
What?
Yeah. So literally, this company has been around forever.
Oh my God.
And they've been, I don't know how they're still in business after the Hindenburg, but needless to say, that's where all the Goodyear blimps come from now. And it's not a Goodyear blimp anymore, technically. We just still call it a blimp. It's a Goodyear dirigible.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't have the same ring to it.
No.
Anyway, so that was my little like side hole.
Oh my God.
My side
Your second
rabbit
butthole.
Yeah, my second butthole.
Yeah.
But, doing any sort of research on airships, you'll quickly find that a lot of them have crashed. A lot of, I want to say, I don't know what the exact like percentage of disasters are, like how many exact, there's a lot. You go to airship disaster Wikipedia.
Oh, no.
It's like, I want to say like 75% of them that have ever been made or just have had accidents.
I mean, there's a reason it's not like a mass transportation vehicle at this point in time. You know what I mean?
No.
But like, I just don't, it's so weird to me because they're so unwieldy. Mm-hmm. Like, even a hot air balloon. I will never get in a hot air balloon. First of all, you're up there with a weirdo, okay? Because it's like you and the person operating it. I don't know them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like super hungover or like still drunk or who knows, you know what I mean? Like,
or like, what if they become incapacitated?
What if they become incapacitated? I'm trapped in a balloon, okay?
A literal nightmare scenario.
Oh my God. But like, I've seen people try to land those. I watched a video the other day where one lands in like a picnic in a park and runs over some old people. You know what I mean?
I saw that shit too. Or like they crash into like power lines or something.
Yeah. It's like you can't control this. There's no. It's like you're at the whims. It's like a sailboat or something. Like
I feel like safer on a sailboat.
Oh yeah, no, I feel safer on a sailboat because at least you're touching an element.
The earth. I know.
You're not just like floating in air. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't. Well, a gust of wind is like a rogue wave. Honestly, if you're in one of these kind of like, if you're in some sort of hot air balloon or a dirigible, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. It seems very unwieldy and very, like a lot of the ones that were around during this time, when it was like a popular thing to do to make these Zeppelins and shit. A lot of them would fly into storms and just like break apart midair. So it's like. You don't know. You get hit by a huge gust of wind and just like fucking crash. It seems
at like 20,000 miles in the air, like 20,000 feet. Sorry,
that's how high they would go. Yeah,
that's like even maybe a minimum. Like they went up to like 30,000 feet.
Like an airplane, like a literal, airplane. Like a commercial airliner.
We were talking about this offline. We're like, there's no way they fly as high. We're like, I was like, they're like tree level, right? Like I was like, they're just above the trees type situation. And if you need to gas it for a little hill, you gas it. You go a little higher, you come back down, No, they're fucking, these things were crossing the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
At 20,000 feet at least, okay?
Yeah.
And that's insane to me. It's a fucking balloon.
Yeah.
I just can't fathom. And people were doing this like, you were talking about how there were so many camera crews and stuff at the landing of the Hindenburg. And it wasn't like a novel thing because you said, like they were already taking these transatlantic. The Hindenburg had already had a full year of successful flights.
Yeah. So this time period, the short time period that Zeppelins and dirigibles were like popping, where they were it.
Yeah.
It was they were mostly being used in the wars. Like World War I was when they really, everybody in the, all the major powers were like, we need to make these airships. We got to drop bombs somehow. We got to carry these big heavy bombs. Right. And we only have like these fucking biplanes basically. Yeah. We don't have the ability to carry like bigger, or ordnance, whatever. Yeah. So that's what they had these airships for the wars. I mean, they're like death from above. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the world wars were happening, and then the Hindenburg disaster happened, and it was like, what are we doing here? Okay.
Yeah. Like I don't want to say thankfully this happened, but like it had to happen so that we could like move on from that idea. It's like they needed to catch it televised and with radio announcers crying into the microphone so that like we stopped doing it because we already, you know, they already didn't have a great success rate. But like the fact that all these people were there, because it was still an exciting thing. Like it was like a classy, luxurious, like, you know, it's why people wanted to see off the Titanic and stuff. Like it was still a novel thing.
So after understanding that people were flying around in a highly flammable balloon, now that we know that, we got the like mechanics of it out of the way.
Yeah.
Like the way that it worked was, you know, you have this big ass balloon and then you had what they called a gondola below it, which is like a ship deck basically with like cabins and everything like attached to the bottom of the big fucking balloon full of death gas that could catch on fire at any moment and explode the entire thing while you're 30,000 feet up in the air.
Oh my God.
But like think of that scene in Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade where they're on they're in the fancy Zeppelin and it's all the German people. They're like, it's like Indiana Jones and his dad, you know, Sean Connery. They're like trying to escape the Nazis. And they're on the Zeppelin and they're like trying to blend in and they're like in this like fancy like lounge area and everybody's smoking and drinking and, you know, having cocktails and they're all dressed to the nines. That's what it was. That was, you know, it's like you're in this like fancy train compartment or something.
You look at it from the outside, and I think this was also my kind of idea about it was like, oh, it's just like a big empty room. That, you know, like those like military plane, like sometimes they're cargo planes,
like a cargo.
Well, sometimes they're cargo, sometimes there's people, but you know, it's like very empty if there's no cargo in it.
Yeah,
and
it's like
just
Spartan.
people.
Yeah,
yeah, and so I always imagined it like that, but no, this is the equivalent of how I think it is nowadays to fly like first class to Dubai or Singapore. Like how, like on Crazy Rich Asians, how they're like in that little cabin and it's like totally private and there's beds and like there's food and stuff. Like this shit had, it had rooms for like cabins for people to sleep in with, like kind of like a train cabin, you know, where it has, it had a dining room, it had promenades, it had a reading room, a bar, a smoking room.
Yeah. Everything. Like
that was a mistake, first of all.
A smoking room? Yeah.
I think, and when I was like, why would they even have this? It was like, don't worry. They had like a drop ceiling on it to block it from the hydrogen being used above or whatever. And it's like,
what?
Someone gets drunk and mad and punches a wall in here and this whole place is going up in flames.
Like I know. It's just
it
sounds terrifying because it is. And like I feel like we, you know, maybe in 100 years people will look back on commercial airlines and be like, what the fuck were human beings doing?
It's gross.
You know, like we were flying around in a metal fart tube and like, you know,
I hate it. I'm almost like not doing it anymore unless it's really worth it.
That's fine.
Or I have to, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's how anybody does, but
I would just want high speed trains like Japan. Like,
me too.
Can we just please just get
I think everybody I feel like we'd see and take advantage of so much that this country has to offer if we were able to do like very nice, affordable. It doesn't have to
train
be luxurious, just comfortable, like train travel. Yeah. But people were doing this for like, you know, they'd already been doing this a year and they'd made 10 trips from Germany to the US. And this was like the second season. And people were coming back. And it's just like, I just can't believe that this flew a whole year without incident. And then this is like, it's first day sophomore year.
Yeah, kind of.
And it just like falls on its face, you know?
Yeah. It, like you said, made 10 trips from Germany to the United States in 1936. So it's like, yeah, this is old hat. We got this. We know how to do the transatlantic crossing, so to speak. But it is absolutely giving Titanic, okay?
Yeah.
It is the hubris of human beings to be like, we're going to build this fucking ginormous thing.
Yeah.
It's so big, it's so beautiful, it's luxurious. We're going to get all of the best people, only can afford to fly this gorgeous, you know, like fucking lumbering goddamn balloon full of highly flammable gas.
I wonder what it sounded like on there.
I think it had like a motor. So there's two types of fuel on it. Obviously the lighter than air, the hydrogen.
Yeah.
And then also had like fuel, like
diesel
fuel
Yeah.
probably to like to power the engine.
Yeah.
Because it did need an engine to
for like the little fans and stuff.
Yeah.
And to operate the rudder and stuff. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's giving Titanic, but the only difference is that the Titanic like luxuriated in its demise. It was like oh, it's like I hit an iceberg, but let me just owie. I'm not even done with my cocktail. I'm not even done with my gimlet. Let me just finish this.
Close those doors down there.
Just a few more minutes. And then it eked it out into like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the Hindenburg was like, bitch, I'm out. And then it was gone. It just was like,
oh shit, I'm on fire. And then it was gone.
Yeah, and then it was gone. Yeah, it was like, oh shit, I'm on fire. And then it's just gone. So there's like some debate about how long it took to go up in flames, but I'm going to go with what like the NASA analysis said, which is it took as little as 16 seconds from when it ignited to when it was just, when I say just the like skeleton of the inner like
the
frame
of
that's it.
Yeah. That's all that was left. Yeah.
That's all that was left. And it's almost like it's not even like the whole thing's even still on fire. Like it kept burning, and there, you know, because you said their diesel gas was on there, so that kept burning. But like it just went, like it just like I don't know. It's so hard to describe, but it's very interesting. Anyway, so an analysis was done by someone at NASA, and they said that the flames consumed the ship at a rate of 49 feet a second. So it was their estimate that it took about 16 seconds. But prior to that analysis, it was kind of suspected that it took 24 to 27 seconds roughly-ish. And despite having cameras on the ground, they weren't able to pinpoint an exact time of ignition because the cameras weren't rolling when it initially burst into flame.
It's like they were like, oh shit, there's some sort of fire happening. Right. And they turned on their camera. And by the time they got the entire thing, it had already like started
or it's
majorly
like
catching on fire.
The wrong angle or whatever, and they can't really tell exactly when it started on the other side. So it's, you know, it just kind of is what it is. They weren't able to pinpoint the exact burn time. So
yeah. So unsure of what ignited the flames, but they do know how quickly it spread forward. And it first consumed cells 1 through 9, and the rear end of the structure imploded. Almost instantly, 2 tanks, maybe water, maybe fuel, burst out of the hole, and buoyancy was lost on the stern of the ship. So it started to just go whoop like that, like the front
like
of
the
it.
Titanic.
Like the Titanic. It came up straight up in the air, sort of, or like at an angle into the air. Yeah. The tail of the Hindenburg crashed towards the ground as the bow continued to point into the air, bursting into flames and killing 9 of the 12 crew members in the bow. Ugh, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
The cell behind the passenger decks ignited. The airship's gondola wheel touched the ground, causing the bow to bounce up slightly as one final gas cell burned away. This may have been when the last survivors were able to, like, when the gondola started to hit, like the wheels of the gondola hit the ground. That's when people were able to jump out of the windows.
Well, because it was like the couple bounces it made, like the windows would get, and everybody was at the windows as they were approaching the landing because that was the best
They were
view.
watching themselves. Yeah, they were watching the people down below. And getting ready to land.
There was two sides of the ship, and everyone was kind of like at the windows except for the crew and stuff. But it kind of bounced a couple times. So I think in between the bounces, a lot of people on at least one side of the ship were able to get out of the window. They just like, as it was coming down to the ground, they just jumped and ran, or as it was kind of going back up, people in waves were kind of getting off. But I think on the other side, they weren't as lucky because it was like tilted a little. And so the
gas,
window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The window was blocked. The gas like consumed that side. I think the starboard side was the side that was consumed.
Caught fire first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, it's really sad.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the chief petty officer, Frederick J. Bull Tobin, in command of the Navy landing party for the airship, and a survivor of the crashed American military airship, the USS Shenandoah.
Oh my God, poor man.
Like he had already been part of. Like this is how dangerous.
The trauma. This is why everyone's fucked up today, because the trauma of a man like that.
Yeah, dude.
Just being passed down generation to generation.
Just air disaster after air disaster.
Oh my God.
He shouted the famous order, "Navy men, stand fast," to successfully rally his personnel to conduct rescue operations despite the considerable danger from the flames. Like, he like got they were ready, and they like rushed into danger basically.
There wasn't even like, it's horrifying. And there wasn't even, I don't even know that like anyone reacted that quickly, like, because these blasts were happening, like,
you couldn't get near it.
You couldn't get near it, and the people on the ship were getting knocked down and stuff. So like it just was chaos for that short period of time. And then after, it just kept burning for literal hours because of all the diesel fuel. So it was like, that initial part, either people escaped or they didn't, but that was it. Like, if people made it off the ship, you could help them. Other than that, there's no one to help. Like, but they did jump in, and they helped people around the crash site. And like, obviously there was a lot of people with horrible burns that they attended to, and they saved people's lives. Like,
they did.
People that were able to get off.
Yep. There were a total of 35 deaths out of the 97 people on the airship, including 13 of the 36 passengers and 22 of the 61 crew. Most of the survivors, like you said, were severely burned. Among the killed were also one ground crewman, a civilian linesman named Alan Hageman. 10 passengers and 16 crewmen died in the crash or in the fire. The majority of the victims were like burned to death, while others died jumping from the airship at an excessive height.
Like initially,
or as a consequence of either smoke inhalation or like shit falling on them inside the airship. 6 other crew members, 3 passengers, and Alan Hageman died in the following days or hours as a result of their burns. It's horrifying.
Oh my God. I want to talk about Alan Hageman really quickly, but also I read that there was like a family on there, and there was like a boy who was 8, and he remembered his mom like pushing him and his brother like
out
of the airship. His dad and sister didn't make it, but like, how fucking wild. Like, the fact that mom was able to think so quickly, and it just made me think about how it was kind of hitting the ground kind of quickly, and it's like your instincts, like, if you have good instincts, is to see an opportunity and just go for it. You don't even think about it, And I watched this interview. So it's this man, Robert Buchanan. He was a grounds crew member, same as Alan Hageman. They were actually on the same team. And this was an interview done like probably in the early 2000s. It's on YouTube now. This man has since passed away. He was an old man then. He survived the crash, and he was on the same team as Hageman, and he talked about how there were these train track type scaffolding on the ground, and that's like what they would use to help anchor the ship when it landed, and it was
'cause
like
they had ropes
it rolled
all
back.
around it. Yeah.
And so you'd tie a rope, and then maybe it would like you'd move it back or whatever and put it into place, and it would kind of like hook in or whatever. And so there was all this stuff, and he said that somehow in that like 16-second period, because there was a blast. He talks very in depth about like the blast of heat. And he's like, I'm going to die. Like, this is like the most heat I've ever felt, And he just started running. Like, at first they started running one way, but then the blast. So then they started running another way. And he was like, I felt it. And I just remembered being like, ooh, the railing on the ground. Like I need
jump
to
over that.
Yeah.
Like,
and he was like, I don't even know how I remembered it was there, but like I knew and I missed it. And he said that it's kind of rumored that maybe Alan Hageman maybe got a little tripped up in the railing, or he was also an older man and like maybe not in as good shape as the younger people on his crew, and he just like didn't make it. But it's so sad. And then Robert Buchanan was also talking about like back in this time period, like you went to work for your family if they owned a business. That's what you did. You didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And everybody worked like in the same quarry, in the same mine, in the same factory. Like your family just, even if you didn't own it, you know what I mean? Yep. It's like you all did the same thing. And so Robert Buchanan worked with a bunch of his cousins and his brother. And so his immediate thought after he got away and didn't trip over the railing was like, where is my family? So then he like went and checked, and they all survived. And he said they went over to his house after, and his mom was home, and they all just walked in like burned.
Oh my God.
Totally fucked up. And the mom had no idea because it was 1936, 1937. No, there's no TV. Yeah. People don't constantly have the radio on. Like nobody knows what's going on. And they like had to tell their mom what happened. And then through the night, it kind of, people caught on, and news people started coming over and all this stuff. And it was wild. And they all just got kind of drunk down in the bar that his dad had in the basement.
I would too. Holy fucking shit.
I don't know how you would like, how that would be truly so horrifying. And nobody knew how to like process this kind of thing. Nobody was talking about their feelings. And he said the one thing that saved him, it was a drizzly night right before the landing. So all the grounds crew were standing soaking wet in the rain.
Oh my God.
And he was like, I think that's it. Like, that's why we survived. Because there's no way that with that heat, if we were not wet, like we would all be goners.
Being that wet and like having the like wherewithal to like run for your life immediately.
Oh my God. And then having that be the one thing that maybe like the coincidence that saved you.
Oh, I know. Oh my God. It's wild. Yeah. So the aftermath is like, this shit was fucking done after this. Yeah. Like, like people were like, we're not getting on one of those. No, thank you.
I mean, yeah, people, right. Like from a commercial perspective, because I think
they still use Zeppelins and rigid airships after this in the war for a while
for like military purposes.
For military purposes, yeah.
Because I think this specific flight was chartered by like either American Airlines or Delta or something.
American Airlines.
Not after this.
Yeah, well,
that's American a PR nightmare.
No, American Airlines had this like partnership with the Zeppelin airline, basically. Yeah. That they would, once the transatlantic flight landed, they would shuttle passengers from it to wherever their final destination was.
Right.
So it's like your ticket included the American Airlines transfer. Yeah. So pretty interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah. I think so. Immediately after this, obviously they like cleaned everything up, and they sent, this is so wild to me because like I'm not very superstitious, but here's something I wouldn't do is like take pieces of the Titanic to like rebuild another ship. But that's exactly what these people did. They were like, hey, can you, in Germany, they're like, hey, can you send us back the frame to that? It's still fine, right? It's like a little hot.
It's like a little melted, right? We can reshape it. Well, this is the thing. During this time, like resources were so limited.
Oh my God.
And Germany was like, we need that back. Like,
but like, no. Put it into something else, okay? Like melt it down for scraps and put it into other shit, okay? Do not put it into more airships, but they did.
Yeah, I mean, like you gotta use it for something.
Yeah, it's already that shape. But
yeah,
it's too bad.
We just need a new coat of paint on it.
Yeah, just slap some paint on it. It's like the landlord's.
Put some doped fabric over it. It's fine. Now that you guys know what doped fabric is.
Oh, dope.
So
I only want to dress in doped fabric. It sounds fancy. It's just too bad that they weren't making like Hitler's private blimp, because maybe he would have died a lot sooner.
Oh. If only. Oh my God.
Yeah, but this was wild.
Truly a really interesting time. And imagine if this never would have happened. The technology kept getting better. Like,
no,
would we still
it was already bad.
It was already bad. It was already like, this is the thing. This, they could fly through storms, or they could fly through like pretty, gnarly weather, but not that bad. Not that bad of weather, because otherwise it would just like blow fucking into the upper atmosphere or something. I don't know.
Oh my God. A lightning hits it. The whole thing explodes 25,000 feet in the air. Like,
we're
what?
done. Yeah. It's so crazy though. I learned that this is a fun fact, when the Empire State Building was built, they had at the very top, they had installed a mooring hook for dirigibles
Oh, that's cool.
because they were like so
you could just like stop in. It's like a new plane of existence for transportation.
It's like a helipad on top of a building, This was like, they were like, this is the future. Like, this is what we need to do. So when the Empire State Building was built, that's what they had at the top of it, was a mooring hook for a blimp, or for a Zeppelin or a dirigible.
So weird.
And then this happened, and they were like, "Oh, take that fucking mooring hook off the building, please. Thank you."
Can you turn that into an art installation?
Yeah.
Put an antenna over that.
We need that metal for the war effort. Thank you so much.
Is that a mooring for airships? No, that's a carnival tent post.
It's a perch for our pigeons
and our acrobats.
Mm-hmm.
They on Saturdays.
Oh, I want to do there was a passenger on the Hindenburg that I want to do a bonus episode about for our Patreon. So if you're part of the Patreon, we're going to do that. Keep an ear out for that. Speaking of which, I don't know. This is all that I've got on this topic.
Yeah, me too.
You guys, it's fascinating. What a wild time. Read more about it if you want to. Watch the videos. It's intense, and it's the cover of Led Zeppelin's self-titled album.
Yeah. Oh, Erin has the best title for this episode.
Yeah.
Dread Zeppelin.
Yeah.
You know I liked it. I saw that. I went,
yeah.
Rock and roll, baby.
Oh, God.
It's so sad. Yeah.
It truly is sad. R.I.P. to all the people who perished.
Stuff like this is so sad, but also like fascinating. It's just like one of those things. Like, it has to happen for things to get better and more advanced. Like it sucks, but I truly think the only reason this finally put the nail in the coffin of dirigibles is because there were so many cameras there, and they were able to capture so much emotion and like terror. Yeah. Because this was already happening, like we said. Yeah. Like 75% of the time.
I made that stat up. I don't know.
I know. Yeah. We're just conflating. But it's a funny. Yeah. I mean, it's not funny, but too many of these were going down on the reg. Okay. And people were just like, what? Well, but maybe we should fly one to Europe with a bunch of families on it. It's like, okay.
Oh, man.
But also maybe not.
Hey, man, you get enough money behind something and investors and
yikes.
It just is what it is. So
yeah.
Anyway, well, that's all I got. Follow us on social media at DTFU Podcast everywhere.
Send us your short 3-paragraph, less than 500 words, I would say. That's probably a lot, right?
Yeah.
Your story so that we could play AI roulette with it. I don't know.
I just took a drink of my drink and it just spilled everywhere. I don't know. I have a hole in my lip or something.
Oh, God. Are your lips numb?
No.
Oh, okay. I just
pulled
too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll play that in the coming weeks.
Yep.
And
it'll be so silly and so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, you guys stay excellent to yourselves
and each other. Okay.
Bye.